What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Kell Brook. Kell Brook announces retirement from the sport of boxing. Less than 3 weeks ago, Kell Brook defeated his arch rival Amir Khan via 6-round knockout at the AO Arena in Manchester in the pairs long anticipated bout. His career record leads 40 wins, 3 losses, and 43 professional fights, 28 of those wins coming by knockout. Kell Brook, of course, has now announced his retirement from boxing, with former welterweight world champion calling time on his career at age 36. Let me counterpunch. I say job well done. Job well done, Kell Brook. Kell Brook has done a lot in the sport. He's fought some of the best fighters in the world, from Triple G to Terrence Crawford to Errol Spence. Those are his 3 losses. Not in that order. But he proved that he was on top of the level, okay? Kell Brook did fall off the rocker after his first loss. Really, it wasn't even after his first loss. I mean, his inactivity at times, waved a lot difficult, because a lot of times people thought he was ducking some fighters. And he went up to challenge himself against Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin, of course, was the bigger, stronger fighter. That was when nobody really wanted to fight Golovkin, okay? And he did that, and he went into the fire, okay, knowing that. And this was back in 2016, all right? This was 5 years ago. And actually 6 years ago, that he took on Gennady Golovkin for the middleweight crown. He went up there to fight him because Golovkin needed a fight. Why? Because Canelo was ducking at that time. So Kell Brook stepped up. And then the irony was, everybody thought Kell Brook was the guy that was ducking in the welterweight division, but, there's a lot of, talk around that. But nonetheless, he went up and challenged a man, and he had some success in that fight. He showed he could fight. He showed, he landed, and he ended that fight on his feet. They ended up throwing in the towel because Golovkin was getting angry. Because, Golovkin was a guy that at that time, he was surrounded by that aura of invincibility type. He wasn't going to beat Gennady Golovkin in that window of time. Kell Brook was the first person, and he was one of those many that proved that you couldn't. But nonetheless, he still took it. That takes brass balls. Okay, so that was his first loss, and he was still the IBF welterweight champion at the time. So he went back down and took on a hard-hitting, young, hungry Errol Spence, okay, and got injured again, okay? And that was 2 sets of injuries that he received back to back. But look at that resume, though, okay? That resume spoke for itself. You took on Gennady Golovkin, then you took on Errol Spence. Yes, you have back-to-back losses. You took out Shawn Porter, gave him his first loss, okay? And the strange thing about that was he came over here to do that. He took the IBF strap from Shawn Porter, okay? Errol Spence came back over there and took it back from him, but that was after he was already damaged. That was after he was already defeated. So, but Kell Brook, no, career was very, very good. He beat Matthew Hatton. I'm looking here. Carlson Jones, Shawn Porter, Jojo Dan, he has Jojo's on a lot of people's resume, though. He challenged Gennady Golovkin, Errol Spence, Sergey Robchenko, Michael Zarafa, Mark Luka. Then he went up to take on Terrence Crawford. And, and that was a good fight for the most part, because both guys were counterpunchers, and you could tell it took Terrence a while to pick up and catch up with Kell Brook. Because Kell Brook's a strong fighter, and he gave, for the record, he gave Errol Spence hell for just a minute. Okay, 8 or 9 rounds of that fight until Errol started to knowing like I really need to step this up because this guy I'm going over here to do this and this guy is being competitive like he is. So no, Kell Brook was a hell of a fighter, um, and I think you would think his best win would be Sean Porter, but I think his best win was Amir Khan. Why? Because Amir Khan was the guy that got the recognition. Amir Khan got the most money. Amir Khan was looked at outside of the UK, fought a lot outside of the UK, did things that, Kell Brook was really challenging to do. Okay, he was the competition. And he got most of the reviews and he got most of the praise being that particular person from that area. Okay. And Amir Khan ducked him a lot. And he ducked him for good reason now that we see that would have been the outcome anyway. Regardless of what Khan you would have saw, Kell Brook would have cracked his shit open. And I think that was one of the most defining fights of Kell Brook's career, his last, go figure. And I think it's easy, and I think that has a lot of percentage to do with him retiring from the sport because he did something that he finally wanted to do for so long that when he did it, it was like, you know what? I'm done. He had a fight, and he wanted that fight with Conor Ben for a lot of money or whatever. And really that was just like kind of his retirement check. But since he didn't get it, I think he was comfortable enough with his own accomplishments in this sport to hang up the gloves. Enjoy your family, Kell Brook. I salute you, and I bid you adieu. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Kell Brook announcing retirement at the age of 36. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.